Welcome to the Pigskin Party Podcast, the only podcast that combines real NFL analysis with a splash of pop culture and a dash of the random. Let's get this Pigskin Party started with your hosts, Brian McFadden, Will Southard, and Tommy Yu.
Welcome back to the PPP presented by Legit Football. It's time for the flavor of the week. My name is Brian. Please subscribe and tell a friend so we can grow this Pigskin Party. Joining me back from the main episode, Mr. Will Southern and Tommy Yu. Tommy, are you okay?
It just brings me so much pain because literally every NFC East rival fan that I have met have been really genuinely good people. And so it's almost like if you're just surrounded by like a lot of great things and you've been told that there's like a bad fan base amongst this group and everyone I've met's good, I have to look in the mirror. I'm like, is it me? Am I the garbage that brings it all down? So it's kind of been like a coming of age saying, maybe I'm the problem.
I mean, as an Eagles fan, yeah.
Our self-awareness doesn't allow us to get that far. We deflect. We start deflecting and be like, no, you suck.
So, Will, you wore your lime green sleeveless shirt somewhat in honor of the Eagles. You were in sync with Tommy on the first episode. How are you feeling?
Oh man, I'm feeling good about our flavor of the week topic. I think it's gonna be a juicy one and a fun conversation, as our flavor of the weeks have known to be. So I'm good, man. I'm excited.
Awesome. Let's bring in our guest back off the main NFL episode. If you count each episode and not just each week, this is the 6th episode he has been on of the Pigskin Party podcast. Neal Thrailkill, how you feeling, dude?
I'm feeling good. I got really hyped up last episode, so I'm kind of riding that wave right now. Let's go.
Awesome. So let's just jump right into it. So, flavor of the week. Before we do it, every week we're going to give you a break. I know Tommy needs a break. Neal probably needs a break too. Going all that NFC East, just emotion. They definitely need a palate cleanser. So let's. The palate cleanser this week is something we've been waiting for. Obviously, we've followed the MCU shows from WandaVision. Who last time we talked about WandaVision, Neal was on the show, so that's appropriate. To Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and now Loki. The finale of Loki aired last Wednesday. I was informed before we started recording that our producer Anthony has not seen the finale.
Oh
so
my God.
It's your fault, dude. It's been out for almost a week. We're going to talk about spoilers. You saw the kind of the biggest reveals anyway, so I don't think we're going to give too much away. But yeah, we're going to talk about Loki, which I'll go ahead and say, and I want to start with Will. Just far and away the best MCU show. I'll lead you off with that because I believe you agree. Will, let's talk about Loki.
Dude, I think not only is it like so that I would go so far as to say probably one of the best like MCU property. I don't know if that's a word, but like creations. If it wasn't like only for the explicit purpose of like setting up other stuff, that kind of took a little bit away from it. I think to say that it's like its own standalone thing, because a lot of these shows, that's what their purpose is, right? It's to kind of, set up the next stage of the universe and movies and stuff. So I get that, but man, just a great ride from beginning to end. So much better than WandaVision, so much better than Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Just well done and well directed, well acted, well everything.
So, Neal, you told us before we started recording that you haven't seen Loki. I don't think you've seen any of the MCU shows, but there's a reason for that. Why is that?
Yeah, so me and my girlfriend recently just started watching the MCU, all the movies, all the shows, everything in chronological order. I've seen most of the movies, haven't seen the shows like you mentioned, but my girlfriend has only seen a couple of the movies here and there. And so we're going through it. We're about almost halfway through. Just got done with Guardians of the Galaxy, getting into like Age of Ultron stuff. So it's been fun. It's been awesome rewatching some old movies. But I was going to watch those shows like WandaVision and stuff. But since we started this, I'm like, well, I'll just wait and watch them with my girlfriend. First time for both of us. So nice. You guys are going to ruin the whole show for me. Thanks.
Nothing like being with your girlfriend for her first time.
Amen.
So, Tommy, this may not be the kind of palate cleanser you need right now. You literally are rocking in your chair. You're still hyped up from the Eagles and NFC East talk. What do you know about Loki? What have you heard? And
Oh, I am an expert at all things. You should know that, Brian. I don't need to watch it to know what it's about. As soon as I heard Loki, I was like, I already know the plot. All right, listeners, I'm gonna spoil everything for you. So this show is about Loki, who is who's Thor's brother, but and
there you go.
His magic power is he has this like lance thing, and he could poke people with it. It's insane. But so this show is the origin on how he got this lance, and so, he's going through Mordor and stuff. It's pretty dope. He's going on this journey and whatnot.
He's got the Ring of Power with him.
And then he finds a Sorcerer's Stone, puts it on his lance, and it's not that good as they say, but I guess it was fine. So, yeah, that's Loki.
Okay, well, now that all of our fans know exactly what Loki is all about, and what an accurate description that was, Tommy, let me tell you my thoughts on the show. So, Will, you mentioned that a lot of these shows, and some of the lesser movies, they stand alone, but a lot of times they set up what's to come in the next movie. What Loki did, besides being phenomenally, the music, the art direction, even the intro, the whole intro, like I would watch the intro all the way through, that music. But this not only set up the next movie, Loki set up the rest of the MCU with what they're doing with timelines and multiverse and all of that. What do you know about Kang the Conqueror, Will?
Supposedly like the baddest ass of badass like Marvel villains. I'll be honest, like I don't know that much, which is kind of fun to go into it. But you kind of saw the setup, right? And he, I guess the cool part was like he told you so, right? Like going into it. And so I'm excited to see what the next phase of the MCU is. They're kind of I don't know if they're pushing ahead of the source material, but I guess not. There's a lot of source material.
Yeah, there's decades of source material.
It's going to be good. It's going to be.
I will say this without getting too specific. They quickly established at the beginning of Loki, really in episode 1, almost how insignificant Thanos is, and then now they've set up Kang as to make Thanos look like a puny, sad Philadelphia Eagles fan sitting in the corner eating his hot dog.
Oh boy, unnecessary.
Had to bring you back.
Strongly disagree.
Still,
I was gonna say though, don't they kind of have to for the story bring that up, and then B, they always, you gotta one up each other every time, so they gotta hype it up. But yeah, did they do that with Thanos before? Leading up to him, with all their guys too. So yeah.
But they did, and you're right. You always have to have a tougher villain, but they did it in a way that makes sense without giving too much away. For Tommy already knows the whole movie. He just described it with the Sorcerer's Stone and Mordor and all that. But for you, Neal, who eventually will be watching it once you get to the end of your marathon with your girlfriend watching the MCU, it's done in a way that completely makes sense. Like, wow, Thanos was like a little kid, crying over his lost glove. Compared to Kang the Conqueror and what's to come.
I have a question though. Is Loki in this series? Is he more of an antagonist or like the protagonist? Does that make sense? Because usually I feel like he's kind of like he borders villain and anti-hero kind of thing.
Both. He's like that in this show as well, where he will kind of gravitate back and forth between kind of hero and anti-hero, and that's kind of Loki's thing in the comics as well. And in the MCU movies, if you've already seen a number of them, you've seen he kind of plays that role in all the movies.
Right.
So this just really embodies that, and I love this long-form storytelling. We've talked about that specifically on the show. The fact that you can, and Will had a problem with WandaVision, I get it, but the fact that you can take the character of Wanda Maximoff and the Vision and tell just a deeper story because you can do it over multiple episodes instead of just a 2-hour movie, doing justice to Loki and giving him a whole 6 episodes of like almost an hour of content each of these episodes, but also doing it well. The acting was phenomenal. Owen Wilson was just on the top of his game. Seeing Owen Wilson,
he was so good, man.
Yeah,
he was so good.
He was so perfectly cast for that.
I was gonna say, in a broader sense, I feel like long form TV shows like that are happening a lot are kind of not ruin it. Well, ruin it for me a little bit. Movies sometimes, because like for instance, a Game of Thrones, you can't do that in a movie or even a movie series. Like you have to. They're almost a movie themselves, but the series makes sense or stuff like that. It's like really, I'd rather get more information. I'd rather have a nice 8-episode, 10-episode season with an hour-long episode. I don't know. Yeah, as long as it's done well, obviously. But
what I think it does, it's up to the quality level for movies. Like, you have to... I used to be able to... I'll go to any movie, and I'm like, that was kind of fun, unless it was just god-awful. But now I'm like, no, the bar has been raised. I'm used to this in-depth storytelling with these rich characters. It's kind of difficult to do that in a 2-hour
It is,
film.
yeah.
So, yeah, I agree. Tommy, I'm going to start with you first. You told a wonderful story about what you think Loki is about, but did it cleanse you?
Yeah, I'm thoroughly cleansed, actually. This sounds actually so good to the point where if I am kind of in between shows, I might actually have to watch. One question I have for you guys is, do I have to be, I'm assuming, all caught up in the MCU to get to Loki to kind of thoroughly understand what's going on?
I'm going to venture to say no. And that's not always the case. And don't get me wrong, there's a ton of references, and they reference stuff that happened to Loki in the MCU. But to understand his character arc just in the show and what happens and what's set up next, I think you would enjoy it without actually having watched any of the previous MCU movies. What do you guys think?
Well, I think if it's as good as you guys are saying, then yeah, I would agree. It probably is good. Like, maybe get you into, because I don't know. I guess, Tommy, I should ask you, what is your stance on the MCU? You just don't get into that stuff?
Oh, you don't know Tommy's stance on
I don't
movies,
know.
then.
Oh, movies in general.
Oh,
You
no.
just-
I'm going to lose Neal as a friend, my only friend. Oh, no, Will's been my best friend so
Will's
far.
back.
But no, it's not that, it's not just like I don't have grudges against like MCU or anything. It's just I feel like it's my attention span is too short. Which is weird because I love watching like TV shows because I feel like what Brian mentioned, it's like long form. I get to really connect with characters. But with movies, I'm like, a lot of movies are like 90 minutes. Some of them maybe max out at like 2 hours or such. But even at that time frame, while I'm watching, I'm like, it's so rushed. Like, you can't make me fall in love with these characters.
You know, can we get a little deep philosophical real quick? I was thinking about this the other day, and I think because sometimes you're just not in the mood for a movie, right? But it's the commitment of it. It's the commitment of an hour and a half, 2 hours, where a show is like 40 minutes. A show is like, you don't have to commit. But even though you might binge the whole thing, it's just you can stop after one or something like that. So I kind of get it.
That's fair. That's why I haven't seen Black Widow yet, but I'm definitely going
I do that with movies. Honestly, I'm just so used to short snippets. I'll watch, like we're doing that with the MCU. We're my 7-year-old son, we're introducing him to it, so he's seeing all these movies for the first time. But we watch it after he's ready for bed, before it's his bedtime. So on a good night, we'll have like 30 minutes. So we're watching movies 30 minutes at a time, just like we would a show.
I don't really like doing that, though, for a movie, you know, pausing in between. But it's each their own, right?
I guess I'm just used to it. When you have a 7-year-old, you just have to find ways.
You got to take the little bites you can.
Whatever
yeah.
works,
You gotta get
works.
creative.
Yeah,
Exactly. Well, I'm feeling cleansed, and Tommy's feeling cleansed. So if you guys, whether you're cleansed or not, we're going to move on because just want to make sure Tommy's feeling good.
See Loki. See
Loki. Yes, any of you who have for some reason not seen it yet and we just spoiled the whole thing for you, you should still see it because it is just that good and it really, really sets up the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Okay, let's go into our Flavor of the Week topic, which is presented by Legit Football. Legit Football, the top 5 NFL stories of the day, delivered right to your inbox each morning for free. Go to legitfootball.com and subscribe, or look for a link in the episode description. So our topic today was actually brought up by someone on Twitter, and it was Will actually who found this and retweeted it, and so I thought it was a fantastic idea. And it kind of ties in. If you were listening to the main episode, we were talking a little bit how I'm slowly, begrudgingly liking Tom Brady a little bit more. And he was at the White House with the Bucks, and he was making these jokes about how only 40% of the people believed that or didn't believe that they would win a Super Bowl, referencing Biden and the 40% that voted against him. They called him Sleepy Tom after he forgot that, you know, the downs in that one game. Just made a lot of jokes. And he's got the comment on the shop, throwing the Super Bowl trophy, and his comments during the match with Aaron Rodgers, that golf thing. I mean, he's been saying some funny things, which makes me like him more. So the question is, not that Tom is that guy, but what are some of the players that is just universally liked? Doesn't matter if you're a fan of them or not. I feel like now that Tom's not a Patriot, I can like him a little more. So who's a fan that doesn't matter what team they're on? You across the NFL, you just look at them and you're like, you know what? I like that guy. I don't care that he plays for a rival team. I just really like that guy. And Will, since you're the one who brought this to us on Twitter, I'll start with you.
Yeah, so I mean, I have a couple, and I saw a couple that were posted on Twitter.
Say one, and we'll all go around, and maybe if we'll have time,
Gonna save one. I was just about to say, but I'm gonna go with one, and then we'll go around and see if we get to them all. And so again, we're not talking about like, it's just people that are kind of like, they're just hard to hate, right? Like, it doesn't, rivalry's one thing, but like, you just think about a player and you just like, you universally like. I'm gonna go with DeAndre Hopkins. Like, does anybody hate DeAndre Hopkins? Like in the NFL?
Bill O'Brien.
Like, other,
He's not in the NFL anymore.
Other than Bill O'Brien, just think about like when it's kind of hard to name people, but like think about it. Like, I mean, from a rivalry standpoint, you can be like, oh, DeAndre or Nuke, you got me. But like as a receiver, everyone's like, yeah, I mean, he's really friggin' good, and like he's not an a-hole. So I don't know, man. If I had to put my cart on a horse that wasn't one that anybody else mentioned, I'm going with D-Hop. Who you guys got?
Neal, we'll go to you next. Who's a player that you just like?
Well, let's discuss D-Hop first. Do you guys agree that D-Hop's like that in that space or not?
Sure, yeah.
Oh, to me, clearly, yeah.
I just want to say that DeAndre Hopkins has been one of my favorite wide receivers for like the past 5 years, and I don't think Will knew that. And we've just been on the same darn wavelength this past couple shows.
Have you seen my signed DeAndre Hopkins rookie card?
Dude, I have I'll show you guys afterwards.
Oh,
but
best friends!
I have a
your
signed
bonding is
DeAndre
just
Hopkins
overflowing
jersey
here.
on my
So
wall,
much-
but it's a Houston
What?
jersey. Yeah,
So
I'll show
much
you
room
afterwards.
for activities.
It's the Catalina wine mixer. You guys got to go to that next.
Mother effing
Freaking
Catalina
wine
wine mixer. All right, go.
Sorry, but no, I agree with
Okay.
you wholeheartedly.
No,
All
I
right,
agree
Neal,
as well.
quick thoughts on Hopkins, and then let's hear a player that you think is universally liked.
I agree with Hopkins. He's a fun man. He's fun to watch. Why would you hate him really? Like, isn't his like mom blind and he like always gives her like the footballs and stuff? That's a great heartwarming story. Yeah. Nuke is awesome. I actually I'm gonna pose a question. I think he's universally liked, but I'm actually kind of like Will. I want to see what you guys say. Maybe someone you wouldn't think of. Calais Campbell. Does anybody really hate him? He's got just like a big, lovable smile about him. Like I don't know. I just feel like I'd like a nice hug from him.
Wow.
He's a giant 6'8".
Yeah,
He is
exactly.
a monster. I mean, I don't know that I have opinion either way.
That's what I'm saying. I don't feel like I'm strongly opinionated towards Calais Campbell at all.
He
Dude,
just
you
seems
hear him
jolly
mic'd
to
up,
me.
He's amazing, dude. He's like
He's
full
funny.
of joy. He's so tall. He like talks like this. His voice is crazy.
Sounds like Fat Albert. If anybody knows
my,
who Fat Albert is.
Fun fact is, one of the guys that I worked with actually played football at Miami with him and asked if he wanted to be on our podcast. So
Oh,
he
Calais Campbell.
said-
I will universally like Calais Campbell. If he
Great
comes on
friend
our
of the show.
podcast.
Great friend of the show.
all right, well I'm gonna go tell him to go get him then. We'll do it.
Yes, let's make
There
that
you go.
happen.
Do it.
Tommy, who's a player that you feel is universally liked?
Okay, I am fully expecting to have to hand in my Eagles midnight green card, but it's got to be Dak, right? Like, I hate the Cowboys
I don't know, man.
wholeheartedly, but I don't hate Dak. Well, to be fair, I like Dak coming out of Mississippi State, and I feel like that's kind of contributed. And then when the Dallas Cowboys took him, I was like, oh, well, okay, yeah, I hate him now. But I don't know. Will, you might actually bring up a really good counterpoint, which I would like to hear. But as an avid Eagles fan, anytime I watch the Cowboys, it's not like I'm not trash or I'm celebrating injuries like some Eagles fans like can blindly do. But for me personally, everything this man has done on the field, off the field, his demeanor, and just the way he carries himself, I'm just like, dang it, the Cowboys have a good quarterback. This sucks, kind of thing. Whereas me personally, when Tony Romo played, he was an easy target. I hated that guy all the time. And now he's like a darling because
broadcaster,
everyone's
though.
romanticized. Oh, he's the greatest broadcaster.
So
So that
good.
means as a
He's so
quarterback
good in
on the
the booth.
field, he was a goddamn goat. No. But Dak, on the other hand, he's pretty cool. Sorry, I got fired
Yeah,
up again. I see
but
red.
Dak's whole contract thing, man, and like that whole like if you had to draw a graph on somebody who gets like recognition versus talent, recognition's super high. I don't know if I'm so sold on Dak.
I mean, it's not his fault. He's on the Cowboys. That'll happen to any Cowboys
I think he's
player.
probably a good dude. Like,
To be clear, this isn't about talent. This is just about likability. You could be the worst
but
player in the league.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is because of that, because of him fighting for so much money and being kind of what I would consider kind of mediocre, I didn't like him. And I would say, and it's not about me. I would say there's probably other people that are in that same boat. So
You think he's a mediocre quarterback?
he's kind of kind of.
Really?
I don't think he's that great. I mean, he's not bad. He's certainly the best thing the
I'm
Cowboys
loving
could
this
front.
version of Will right now. I
But
love
like,
this guy.
I mean,
I don't know what you guys did to you. Like had a mind meld. You're just
You
joined.
think Dak is really that good? Like $40 million a year good?
Yeah. Look what happened when he went out last year.
Yeah, but that's
They
just
literally
pure-
lost one guy, and their entire team went to hell.
All right, fair enough.
That's how you know his value.
Moving on. It's not the
Here's my
Cowboys
counterpoint to
podcast.
that, Tommy. Here's my counterpoint is you can call it America's team, and I like Dak personally, but universally liked, you can never be a Cowboy and be universally liked. There are too many fan bases outside of Dallas that just cannot stand the Dallas Cowboys for a lot of the reasons, Tommy, that you mentioned on the main episode, is because they always are overhyped and they always think that they're going to be a Super Bowl contender, and even though they haven't, gone to the Super Bowl since, the 90s, there's too many fan bases that if they're a Cowboy, they're not going to be liked. So that's the thing with Dak. Not him personally. I think if he was on a different team, I probably would agree with you wholeheartedly. So it's not a knock on him. It's a knock on the team that he plays for.
Hey,
Dang,
I'm fine with that. In that same breath, you were able to trash kind of both people. So I'm just sitting here being like, hey, I want it to be a little polarizing because, you all bring up really, really good points, and maybe it was just my way of playing mind games to be like, all right, I want these people to trash the Cowboys. This
This is a fun discussion though. I think we'll just keep going on players because I think some of these are really good. I think there's like a few of them that could come to mind.
Yeah, we got time. Let's
Good.
go around again. Well, I'm going to go for the first time. Then we'll go around. I've got a few ideas, a few names.
All right, Neil, why don't you go ahead?
Okay, I'll
You
go.
are not in
I'm
charge.
just kidding. I'm
Nobody
just
listens
kidding.
to Will. So Tom Brady. No, I'm just kidding. So it's clear
No.
that Tom Brady is not universally liked,
No.
even after leaving the Patriots and the evil empire and Bill Belichick. But I am going to name another GOAT, and that's Patrick Mahomes. How many star quarterbacks to his? Look at him. He's so goofy. You can't hate a guy that
Sounds
goofy.
like Kermit.
Who's also yes, he's got this really
I don't
high
know.
voice,
I feel like I
and
know a
he's
lot
just
of
goofy,
Denver
and he's
and
like,
Oakland fans and Chargers fans that would.
don't know, but they
Yeah, but
respect him
he's
so much.
so-
They don't hate him. You can't hate Patrick Mahomes. Like it was so easy to hate Brady while he was in
That's
New
fair.
England, right? But how do you hate Patrick Mahomes? He's just having the time of his life, and he's got like a really passionate relationship with his wife. They just had a kid. He's got the goofy hair.
Dude,
he's got
his
the high voice,
wife
and he's
is the
insanely talented.
his wife is probably the most disliked human in the entire planet.
Okay, we're not talking about his wife, though. I didn't say his wife.
Tell me
She's
I'm
not
wrong.
an NFL player.
Yo,
Tell
my
me
wife
I'm
hates
wrong.
his wife.
Yeah,
His wife is
she
probably
does
the
elicit
worst.
some hate, but her aside, ketchup on the steak aside, I don't know. It just feels like if there was
Maybe.
ever usually a star player gets to a certain point. Aaron Rodgers, even before all this, there's a lot of people who don't like Rodgers. He just rubs people the wrong way. He just has that kind of gruff attitude, and he's been a winner and the top of his game for so long. But Mahomes, I just feel like he's always just going to be this goofy kid with this curly hair, with this high voice, who is one of the most insanely talented quarterbacks we've ever seen play the game, but is also just so damn likable.
Yeah, but is he? God, it's a whole discussion. Like, is he or is it Kelsey and Tyreek?
Once again, you keep bringing it back to talent. I'm just talking about his likability. Regardless, I disagree that it's just Kelsey.
He puts
and
ketchup
Hill.
on steak, bro.
But that's kind of it. He's like a little kid. He's like this lovable kid who's just playing for the love of
So
the
you
game.
feel sorry for him?
Yes, I feel sorry for a guy who's
Patrick
signed a
Mahomes.
contract worth $500 million. I feel so sorry, and Patrick Mahomes really needs my sympathy.
You know what's funny? I want to agree with Brian, but then I think I just don't think he's universally liked.
Universal. That's the key.
But I want to, for all those reasons you said, Brian. I do want to agree with you.
Well, there's a
Right.
difference between universal and unanimous. No one is unanimous.
That's
Will,
true.
you
That's
mentioned
true.
DeAndre Hopkins on Twitter, and we all unanimously agreed, but immediately Nate, who co-hosts the Un-American Football podcast, there's a little plug for him.
Yeah, but
he's a Colts fan. He said, absolutely not.
He's not even an American, Brian. He's not even an American.
But he brings up a point. There
So his point's invalid.
Exactly.
All foreigners.
Exactly.
My point is, I know, right? Wow, we've alienated Cowboys fans, we've alienated Asian people multiple times, and now we're we have lots of UK listeners,
like,
right?
Aren't our listeners in the UK? Actually,
we have a fair amount, quite a few UK listeners. So ignore Will.
Now.
Just you understand what you're getting when you're listening to Will. But my point is that other people in the AFC South, a lot of those fans will have problems with DeAndre Hopkins for all he terrorized them for many years in Houston. This isn't a unanimous thing. This is universally, like, do a large majority of fan bases across the NFL like this player. That's how I'm looking at it.
All right. Will,
Good,
I think you're
good.
up.
I just shut the whole room down.
Am I up again?
Yes, Will. Go ahead.
All right. I'm gonna go, and this is the originator of the take, and I'm gonna agree with him. Does anybody hate Joe Burrow?
Did you hate him when we was at LSU and he was beating up on your Gators?
Yes, but I don't hate him now. I really want him to succeed
I
now.
like this one.
I think so far, no. But I think he might if he starts winning. That's the thing. But
Really?
I don't know.
From
Something
the
strikes
Bengals?
me as smug about him.
Well, I don't
personally.
think it'll happen, but
Something.
Really?
I view him as a little smug.
Well,
And maybe
there's
they
difference
say-
between Universal and.
You asked my opinion. I'm sharing my opinion. I am giving a counterpoint.
Of
I'm
course
not saying
he's
I can't.
smug, Brian. He had
Okay,
like
but-
one of the greatest college seasons of all time.
I don't know, but you look at Justin Herbert, for instance, and I think you know what? Maybe I tend to the more like goofy guys. Like, to me, Justin Herbert's just goofy. He's like, he had like acne on his face in his NFL picture.
I was gonna say you like kiddish people,
Brian,
right?
Brian
like-
likes men that are kind of like
no.
poets.
Oh no!
I guess that means Zach Wilson. I guess Zach Wilson's going to be my quarterback to follow this year because he looks 12. No, it's just, I don't know. It's like people who play and just have that aren't so serious and just kind of play for the love of the game. I just like that. To me, that's
You
fun.
must have
that
loved
makes you
Eli
likable.
Manning.
Oh man,
For
No.
real, bro.
No.
That was
That
the
must have been
serious
like your
as it comes.
favorite quarterback of all time.
I mean, every game's like this. I mean, Eli Manning.
I love that one
No.
picture. I know we're getting off track, but of him in the beach and he's holding that small pail. Have you guys seen that picture? He's like
No.
in his swim trunks and he's holding
I
like
can
a
picture
really
it,
small
though.
pail. It's hilarious. I'll post it in our chat. It's so funny.
All right, Neil, let's get another one from you.
Yeah. Oh man. Are we doing active or are we staying?
Well,
Whatever.
no. So, I mean, you can. I mean, I thought of, Breeze and Rivers.
Yeah.
You're welcome to
People
go
don't
off on
like
those.
Breeze. That was a bad one.
Dude, I hate
Good
Breeze.
thing you didn't say that.
All right, I'll go with probably one of the more obvious ones. I think so, but I guess we'll see what you guys think. JJ Watt. Does anybody hate
especially
him?
after he did what he did for the city of Houston.
Come on, yeah.
Yeah, after that hurricane. Wow.
I mean, I just love it. He keeps persevering. He's had those horrible injuries, and he's still playing. And what he did for Houston, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people like him. Yeah, thoughts?
I like JJ Watt. I can't argue with that. He's a good person. I mean, he's raised tens of millions for the city of
It was
Houston.
like $25 million for
Yeah.
after the disaster. Yeah.
Is he?
No.
Is
Will?
he universally liked? I don't know.
I don't know about the Universal. I'll
Can you-
say that. I like him. I
Well,
don't know
can
if
you
he's
think of
universally
somebody
liked.
who hates him?
Once again, anybody in the AFC
I
South?
can't.
I don't
Even
personally
now,
like-
with
guess-
the AFC South.
I guess I really
But
just
not
don't
now.
have-
You're right. It could
Yeah.
be like the Brady effect. Now he's in Arizona.
Yeah.
They can
I
respect
guess I
his
just
game.
don't really have strong feelings about JJ Watt one way or the other.
I'm just bringing up the dullest people to you, Will, huh?
You're not mind
Campbell,
melded.
I just don't care.
No, Neil, you're not mind melded. That's
Yeah.
Tommy and Will. We can't penetrate whatever they have going on.
It's
so,
tough. It's tough right
It
now.
is. It really is. Tommy,
feel
how
like-
about you? Oh, go ahead, Will.
no, go.
Provide your.
I feel like there are. I don't know any, but I feel like there's probably people out there that would not like JJ Watt. and think
But you're
he's
saying
kind of-
probably, but I feel like you can't think of an example.
Are you
No,
picking up the mic and holding it in your hand
Yeah,
like you're on
because-
stage?
Yeah, because I sound too far away.
Now you sound really close.
All right,
Listen.
I gotta tell you what
If
this is
you-
really
wait.
about.
If you're not watching on YouTube, so Will has picked up the mic and is holding it as though he's like a speaker at a TED Talk.
That's right. I just don't. I just feel like there are probably people that don't like J.J. Watt. I don't know them, but I feel like they exist. If you don't like J.J. Watt,
I've never met them, but I'm
even email in the podcast. All right, let's go to Tommy though.
Okay.
Okay, so I failed.
Will the
everyone.
MC has given it to Tommy.
I failed everyone in my attempt to push people over to Dak, which I'm completely okay with. But one thing I definitely want to shine. Shout out to Neal. Picking like defensive linemen back to back, giving the unsung heroes a little bit of love. That's pretty dope. That's amazing.
Yeah, true. Kudos.
And
Neal.
so what I was originally going to say was Ryan Fitzpatrick, which is another division, but I know we talked about him a bunch, but I'm going to pivot right now, and I'm going to go to another position that might be underappreciated, but it's got to be Justin Tucker, right? Like, everyone loves Justin Tucker. I know he's a kicker. I know he's mean, but he has like the opera voice. He's known as one of the best kickers. He actually has a personality as a kicker, which is kind of rare to see. I feel like how do you hate him? Like, it kind of fits the goofiness that Brian might be looking for, because like once again, I feel like it's pretty well noted he's like that opera singer, hidden talent thing. He's just like some skinny white dude who randomly has swag. If I saw him in a grocery store, I'd be like, yeah, that's probably like a dad, and he might be like coaching his kids like blue team for intramural soccer. Yeah, that's probably him. But he's like, no, that's like a peak NFL kicker athlete. I feel like you can't hate him.
I also feel like, as a kicker, who has strong feelings about a kicker one way or the other? It's like,
the Vikings do.
He's all right.
The Bears.
The Bears.
I do feel like Sebastian Janikowski was a guy who people could get behind. When
I was gonna say, with the right personality.
Dude.
What about Pat McAfee? People love or hate him.
McAfee now that he's kind of come out with his own show, I don't know that people had opinions about him when he was in the league.
Yeah, this is a tough crowd. Both of my picks were just lukewarm. Neal, I feel like you, man.
I know it's tough out here.
Wait, hang on. Yeah. Adam Vinatieri, if we're talking about kickers, like you gotta respect him.
No.
Do you really?
Yeah,
all right.
Dude.
All that time with the Patriots, it's hard for me to like him.
No, he literally denied the Eagles from a Super Bowl. He denied what? The Carolina Panthers from a Super Bowl, and what? The Rams from that? Like, wasn't there like 3 Super Bowls essentially that all were won in like a field? I might be making that up, but that's how I feel.
Well, not just Super Bowl. I mean, talk about division, championship division, all that stuff.
I feel like for somebody to really qualify on this list, you either need to be kind of a journeyman, or you need to be from a very bad team that no one cares about.
You know what I think? I think to qualify on this list, Will has to like you.
That's true.
Oh yeah, Tim Tebow. That's my next pick.
Yeah.
Clearly.
No, Tim Tebow,
could not. He's the complete opposite. He's like universally despised. Tebow.
Actually, Brian, you go. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I was gonna jump in there.
No, go ahead, Neal.
Well,
I got a few. So
because now my mission is try to find some that Will likes. Okay. All right, Will. Let's try this one. This is an old. This is not an active player. Okay. Troy Polamalu. I feel like he's universally liked. How can you not that flowing hair? Yeah. He was all over. He was a great player, all over the field.
Yeah, but hang on. Hang on. I like Troy Polamalu, but let me throw this out there as a devil advocate.
What about bald people? No,
hang on. He played on the Steelers.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people that hate the Steelers.
I hate the Steelers.
I hate the Steelers.
But I love Polamalu.
Fair. Okay. So I would just say that the likely existence of people that hate Polamalu is only based on the fact that there's so many people that hate the Steelers.
So this is like the Dak Prescott argument.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually think I have one. First, I don't want to gloss over Fitzpatrick because I know Will loves Fitzpatrick. That's not the one I'm talking about. But I at least want to give him like 10 seconds because I haven't yet to meet anyone, at least in the past few seasons, since he came out in the Tampa Bay with that Deshaun Jackson's clothing on and that hairy chest and the sunglasses. I mean, and to play with the helmet. I mean, it's Fitzmagic. Everybody loves Fitzmagic. So I don't want to gloss over that. But here is my pick. And then I have a question for all of you guys when it comes to retired players. How about Larry Fitzgerald?
That's actually that was on my list. He's on my list.
Fitz.
See, Neal, if you would have went with Larry Fitz, I would have been on board 100%.
Yeah, get out of here, JJ. Get out of here, Calais.
Wait, Brian. Tommy is against Larry Fitz?
Really?
I'm not against Larry
What?
Fitz, but there is a community that does not like Larry Fitzgerald
How?
because
Why?
I believe he had
Asians?
some type.
Sense.
He had
Asians?
some type of domestic abuse thing that was just swept under the
What?
rug
Really?
earlier in his career. Yeah, I'm not too aware of it. They always bring it up, and then also they're kind of against the fact that he's so gung ho about the University of Phoenix Online of whatever that thing is, because that's just pretty
What's
much
wrong
like
with
a.
that?
Everyone just
getting
calls it like a
online
money
educations,
mill.
it sounds
Like they
like-
have all these like fake kind of.
It's a fake
not fake,
university
but, like,
kind of thing.
I
Yeah,
see.
they have all these degrees that
Like
don't
a
really
ste-
do
a step
anything,
above
but as long
Trump
as
University.
you pay them, you'll get a degree. So everyone's like, why is this NFL athlete supporting so much of like this money mill? I'm just saying. I'm not saying I love Larry Fitzgerald, even though he thrashes the Eagles every time he plays them. But I know there are like a vocal minority that make it very well known. Be like, oh well, actually, Larry Fitzgerald's scum. I'm like, yo, what are you talking about?
All right, I'm going to try one more, and then I do have a retired question to ask all of you guys. How about Frank Gore?
I can't argue with that.
Frank
Anybody?
Gore. He's been in the league like 27 years.
I love Frank Gore.
He pounds out
Yeah,
3.5 yards a carry.
But
Well,
I don't
no
think
yeah,
there's
but.
anybody
It's
that's
Frank
like,
Gore.
hell yeah, Frank Gore. I think it's more like, aw.
Yeah, but that's a criteria, right? It's like, wow, Frank Gore. good
Cute
for you.
kid.
What a
Cute kid.
Oh,
Great
he's
guy
still,
in the
he's
locker
still
room.
alive. He's
Still
like the
alive.
grandfather that you put in like the Medicaid hospice.
and still productive. If you put him in, like
No.
he's still. We
No,
talked about
he's-
Adrian
no.
Peterson.
No,
dude, he's
no.
not good, man.
Something.
Did you just
All right.
say Frank Gore is Adrian Peterson?
No,
Not
I
even
said
close.
we talked about Adrian Peterson and the old. I don't know. Frank Gore's still quite a bit older. I think he's like 38, 39 at this point. All right,
Is there?
so
Oh, go
here's
ahead.
here's my
Frank
retired
Frank
question.
Gore is gonna rush with his son before too long.
That's true. So here's my retired question. You guys mentioned Breeze. No, fine. I thought Breeze was a university. Maybe with the whole kneeling thing and all that. Fine, I get that. But how about Phillip Rivers?
No,
What?
no.
I don't.
The guy is like the funniest trash talker. Doesn't curse. I mean, what's?
There's a large contingent.
I'm drawn to the goofiness. Clearly.
Yeah.
There's, I guess there's a large contingent of people that think he's just like poop.
All right, fine. Then I'm going
That's
back to
what
Larry Fitzgerald. Tommy, I'm just going to choose not to listen to you. I think Larry Fitzgerald is universally liked. I think we've.
I would say, Brian, this is another one where I want to agree with you. I personally agree with you, but I think I can just. There's a few people, that I can think of that just don't like him.
Yeah, I could see maybe him annoying.
Yeah.
I mean, you could go with all of like the great players of the day, and I think you're probably looking through with rose-colored glasses, right? Like Ed Reed. You know, like are there people that hate Ed
No,
Reed?
there's definitely people who don't like,
Like-
Ed Reed.
I have a question
Lawrence
for everybody.
Taylor?
Are there
Lawrence Taylor. There's a lot of people who don't like Lawrence Taylor.
Joe Theismann doesn't like him.
Joe Theismann's leg definitely doesn't like him.
I have a question for you guys. Do you think there is certain positions where you cannot be universally liked? I, for instance, was thinking about. I was trying to find a cornerback that everybody liked, and I was having trouble. So I was wondering, is there a position specific where people just cannot be universally liked?
That's actually a
Maybe
really
a quarterback.
good point.
I was going to say
Quarterback, maybe?
quarterback.
Yeah,
That can't be universally liked. Quarterbacks
Yeah.
can, sure.
I think
I
it
think
can,
so.
but I think it's super tough because you're
I think
literally.
cornerback is tougher because cornerback you need to have a nastiness to play to
Yeah.
be truly great.
That's the thing.
But if you have any
So-
type of nastiness, then Brian will say that he's kind of arrogant and stuff like that.
Because the
Well,
So-
yeah, but that's the
You
thing.
You can't like you can't be goofy on the sideline and fluff up with your afro and acne and have Brian really like you.
I'll respect you as a player, but I'm not going to like you. Darrell Revis, incredible. I didn't like him.
yeah,
How about
exactly.
Champ
I
Bailey?
would-
I feel like Champ Bailey is pretty chill.
Dion
Maybe
Prime?
not
Oh,
Dion.
Dion, you're right. You know what?
Dion was
so flashy.
controversial though.
He was controversial. Lots of people didn't like Dion,
That's what I
but
was
I
saying.
like Dion. He went to
I
Florida
love
State.
Dion.
I'll give him the Seminoles.
I love Dion, dude.
What about Charles Woodson?
Ooh,
Well,
yeah,
that's
I
a
love
good
Charles
one.
Woodson.
Maybe?
That is a good one.
That's a really good one.
Ronnie Lott, if we're going back really far, like that was a good guy.
No, nobody remembers Ronnie Lott, bro.
Okay.
I feel like there's some low-hanging fruits, though, of, like, if we're talking about retired people, like the Ray Rice, Colin Kaepernick, people everyone loved. No,
Like
but for
Walter
real.
Payton.
Yeah, I was going to
Like-
say, Walter Payton has to be it, right? Walter Payton, Barry Sanders.
Did you say
like,
Ray Rice?
That was a
Oh,
joke.
I was just joking with Ray Rice.
Oh,
and Colin
okay.
Kaepernick.
That was a joke.
Like he literally punched a woman.
Greg
in the face. I don't
Hardy,
think
yeah, all those
anybody-
good guys.
Yeah, Greg Hardy. I mean, like,
Tyreek
I see.
Hill.
Aaron Hernandez. Like, these are all people everyone adores.
Oh,
or-
no, God. You
Too
did
far?
not have to
No,
bring up
not far
Hernandez.
enough.
I like Aaron Hernandez.
What about
Being a Florida.
Brian Urlacher? Is he
No,
university like? No.
Oh, hold on.
No.
How about? Oh, wait. Yeah, I feel like Ryan Urlacher.
I feel like if you were in a
Zach
rival
Thomas.
team.
Ooh, Zach Thomas. I don't
Zach
know.
Thomas.
Zach Thomas. That's a linebacker that everybody could get behind.
Oh, how about Luke Kuechly?
Luke,
Everyone loves Luke Kuechly.
I don't feel like there's a lot of people passionate about Luke Kuechly.
All right, okay.
Maybe-
We will literally go on and we're just going to throw names and names and names.
Well,
and
one
names.
last one,
We're
just
gonna-
for me, please.
Go ahead. You know what, Tommy? You've had to deal with a lot with the Eagles finishing 3 and 4.
And this is
Devonta
an Eagles
Smith.
player. I want to hear
Devonta
everyone.
Smith.
I want to hear you guys because he's my all-time favorite player. How about Brian Dawkins? Huh?
I knew you were going to say that.
This is the same thing. I want to agree, but I just don't think universally he's liked.
Other than Patriots fans, Nick Foles. I will give you that one. Let's finish there.
Big Dick
Taking
Nick.
down the evil empire. Nick Foles always have a special place in my heart.
Just like
Of course you do. All right, let's wrap it up there. We could just talk about NFL players, whether like
That's
this
true.
was a good discussion. I'm glad we found this on Twitter. Thank you for that, Will. Neal Thrailkill, thanks as always for coming on. Why don't you
can I
plug your
just
podcast real quick?
Yes, please. Yeah, everybody go check out the Two Tight Ends podcast. It's not sorry, that's our handle. It's the Two Tight Ends podcast. It's me, my co-host Connor. We call him JV Connor because our producer is the Varsity Connor. Anyways, we talk about sports in general. We get in a little football, a little basketball, sometimes baseball. Once in a blue moon, we talk about hockey, but we really just like to kind of take the piss out of it. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Go check us out, please.
Connor has been on our show and will return. He's a Panthers fan, so we're going to do an NFC South preview later in August. He'll be on for that. Neil,
sir.
the most tenured guest until Jeff Schesser, who I know
Yes, sir.
listens, comes on and ties you for our AFC West preview. Thanks for coming on, man. Check out
thanks
the
for having
Titans
me.
podcast, of course, anytime. Good luck to your Washington football team as they win the NFC East this year. I believe that. Tommy, Will, thanks as always. I'm just combining you guys into one because clearly you're just interchangeable at the moment. And you know what? It's beautiful. Let's keep it up. So another quick plug, as we've been mentioning, make sure to stay tuned for more info on our DFS fantasy leagues. We'll have a weekly one and a season-long one. You can show us your interest now by emailing us at pigskinpartypodcast@gmail.com or reach out to us on Twitter, official PP Pod. You can watch this on YouTube to watch Will and his MC grabbing the mic moments, or my black shirt to mourn the career of Cam Akers for the 2021 season.
The career.
Who knows?
Oh
You
my
know,
goodness.
this
Oh
thing,
my
I just
God.
wow. Poor Cam Akers, who went to Florida State. I don't want to trash him anymore. Don't forget to subscribe, tell your friends, and continue to leave us wonderful 5-star reviews. If you want to join our Discord community, look for a link in the episode description. Also, don't forget to sign up for Legit Football at legitfootball.com. Thank you. This is always a blast. We'll see you next week on the PPP.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Pigskin Party Podcast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. We really appreciate that effort. We'll catch you in the next Pigskin Party.